The girl who drew the future. In the heart of an industrial town nestled between dusty hills and humming machinery stood the Charman manufacturing plant, a massive factory renowned for producing precision turbine engines. Though it had once led the nation in innovation, the factory had become notorious in recent years for one insurmountable flaw, a mysterious vibration problem in their signature GX-9 engine that no engineer, no consultant, no algorithm could fix. For over a decade, the problem had haunted them. The vibration didn't show up in simulations, but it caused parts to wear down prematurely during operation. Every attempted redesign failed. Engineers came and went. Some blamed flawed legacy systems, others whispered of cursed blueprints. Millions of dollars were lost to testing, recalibration, and halted production. But none of that mattered to Amira Qureshi, the teenage daughter of one of the lowest-ranked mechanics in the factory. The mechanic's daughter. Amira was 17, quiet, and often found sitting cross-legged near her father's toolbox in the back of the facility. Her father, Sajid Qureshi, had worked in the factory for over 20 years, an expert in hands-on repair, but never promoted beyond the workshop floor. While Sajid tightened bolts and adjusted turbines, Amira would sketch. Her notebooks were filled with elaborate mechanical drawings, some copied from the machines she saw, others entirely her own ideas. Her father, who'd barely passed school, was amazed by her talent. She had no formal training, no degree, no access to CAD software or university labs, but what she had was a gift, an uncanny ability to visualize mechanisms in motion. She often asked questions no one else dared to. Why does the GX9's left axis bearing always need replacement? Why is there a slight tilt in the support frame? Her father would shrug, amused. Even the senior engineers don't know, beta. But Amira wasn't satisfied with shrugs. The challenge. One Friday afternoon, Mr. Haroon Charman, the stern-faced CEO of the plant, arrived for a surprise inspection. His presence sent tremors through the staff. Managers straightened their ties. Workers avoided eye contact. That day, Amira happened to be sitting in the repair bay, pencil in hand, sketching a new design for the GX9 support frame. Mr. Charman noticed her and raised an eyebrow. "What's this? Bring your child to work day?" There was a ripple of nervous laughter. "She's my daughter, sir," Sajid said respectfully. "She just draws sometimes. Machines and such." Mr. Charman glanced at her sketch, a redesigned bracket with annotations. "Machines and such. Engineering is not a coloring book, young lady." Amira looked up. "It's a torsion dampening bracket. The current GX9 design is overcompensating at the rotor flange. That's why it vibrates." A pin-drop silence followed. "What did you say?" he asked, amused more than interested. "The support structure is slightly asymmetrical," she said, undeterred. "The vibration isn't from the rotor. It's from the frame reacting to torque misalignment. You're measuring the wrong axis." The engineers standing nearby exchanged skeptical glances. Mr. Charman gave a short, dismissive laugh. "Well then," he said, leaning down with theatrical curiosity. "Why don't you fix it for us, Miss Mechanic?" Amira didn't flinch. She tore the page from her notebook, handed it to him, and said, "This sketch should stabilize the torque. It aligns the center of mass with the vibration node. Try it." The skepticism. Back in the main engineering office, Charman tossed the sketch onto the chief engineer's desk. "Run this through a simulation. Let's humor the child prodigy." Dr. Rajiv Kohli, the head of R&D, rolled his eyes but agreed. They expected to disprove her theory quickly and move on. To their surprise, the simulation didn't fail. It showed reduced vibration by 87%. But simulations weren't proof. So they built a prototype based on her sketch. When they tested the engine on the vibration bench the next day, something remarkable happened. The usual shaking was gone. The needle on the vibration meter barely moved. The shock. News spread like wildfire across the factory. The girl's sketch had done what a decade of experienced engineers couldn't. Mr. Sharman, red-faced but intrigued, called for a formal presentation. The entire senior staff gathered in the main hall, including designers, managers, even consultants from other plants. Amira stood at the front, in her father's oversized coveralls, holding only a few pages of hand-drawn diagrams and a ruler. With confidence far beyond her years, she explained. The vibration wasn't from internal components. It was from how the engine mounted to the test bed. You were solving the wrong problem. She spoke in plain terms, drawing each part on the whiteboard. Her solution wasn't complex, it was elegant. She'd adjusted the geometry of a bracket and added a second dampening curve to distribute force evenly. One engineer muttered, "How did we miss this for 10 years?" Amira smiled gently. "You were looking for answers inside the machine. I started from how it connects to the world." There was a long pause. And then, applause. Genuine, thunderous applause. The aftermath. Mr. Sharman, not one to admit he was wrong, still shook her hand and said, "Would you consider joining our R&D team?" Amira blinked. "I'm still in school." "We'll sponsor your education," he said. "And build a lab around your ideas." She looked toward her father, who was wiping away tears. What came next? Amira's design was patented under her name. She became the youngest person in the company's history to be listed as a lead contributor on a major product overhaul. The GX9 engine was relaunched globally, with no vibration issues. Efficiency increased. Complaints dropped to near zero. The story made headlines in engineering journals. Teenager solves problem that baffled engineers for a decade. Soon, other companies reached out. She was invited to speak at conferences, asked to mentor young women in STEM fields, and even appeared on a tech TV segment called Sketches of Genius. But despite all the fame, Amira kept working quietly in the same factory, now in her own lab, with a hand-painted sign above the door. Amira's Sketchpad, where machines begin. Legacy. Sajid Qureshi was offered a supervisory role, but he declined. "I'm happy where I am," he said. "My daughter's the real engineer." The factory transformed under Amira's influence. She introduced programs for young interns, set up a sketch room for creative brainstorming, and emphasized hands-on problem-solving over bureaucratic procedures. In time, what began as a joke, "Fix it, mechanic's daughter," became a proud badge. Workers wore shirts with the phrase printed across their backs. Because they knew. The real magic wasn't in degrees or job titles. It was in curiosity. In observation. In the ability to question the obvious. And in one girl's fearless decision to draw the impossible, and make it real.